I don't want your physical body just like moving through life with me. I want the depth of you present with me. I want to feel you fucking penetrating me with your presence. I want to feel you so there in the moment that I feel like nothing else could take your awareness away from me in that moment.
Yo, lovers. Welcome to Sex, Love, and everything in between. We're the O'Neills. You're here with Meg and Jacob.
And this is the place we have really uncensored conversations about sex, intimacy, and relationships. We're super excited you're here. Enjoy this episode.
Hey, lovers.
Hey, lovers. Welcome back to Sex, Love, and everything in between.
We here. How are you, my love?
I'm good. I'm tired.
Yeah?
But I'm good.
Bit hot?
I'm cool in this room, but it was hot this morning.
It's a hot day. It's a hot winter's day.
I know, it's wild that it's winter. But yeah, definitely going to go for a swim soon and then have a nap. We have all your family arriving very soon.
Yep.
We're celebrating our baby tomorrow.
Yep. And we're having a baby shower. And I'm okay with that now. I'm sorry that I was being a bitch.
We saw someone we were at the grocer before, and I was just telling someone we're having a baby shower tomorrow, and Jacob was like, I don't like that word.
I don't.
We haven't called it a baby shower. And I'm having like a mother blessing in the morning. We've just called it Baby O'Neill Barbecue.
Yeah, I like that name, Bob.
Okay, sorry. We're having a Baby O'Neill Barbecue tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I just felt like a baby shower just felt a little too, it just reminded me, all the baby showers I remember or I picture are like all women.
Maybe that's usually what
I'm pretty sure that's what it, from my.
I don't really buy into the way people do things conventionally. So
okay, you're so alternative. Of course. Yes.
But yeah, we've got a big weekend ahead of us. So I definitely need a nap and a swim.
Yeah.
How are you?
I am I'm present. I'm here. I'm not thinking about all of the things that I need to do to get the house organized.
Yeah.
I'm here. We've just, it's finally stopped raining and I've been able to dry out all of the camping gear from a week, 7 days ago.
We've had all the camping gear on our front lawn.
Yeah, and we live in a really nice street, and I just I felt quite self-conscious about it. I'm like, do people think we're gypsies or we're ferals?
Bogans. Who are those bogans that have all their camp shit over the front lawn for 7 days?
Yeah, but it's such a. I don't know if anyone ever feels this. Maybe it's just me, or I'd love to hear if there's any other men out there. Like when you finally clean everything up and then you start packing it away and you can see the end in sight. I've just had to go through and clean all of the camping kitchen, the cooking equipment, because it was all wet from coming back. And
it poured, it was clear for the first 2 days, and then the night before our final night, and then the morning we were packing up.
It poured rain.
Or you were packing up. It poured rain. So every inch of everything was wet.
So wet.
And then it continued to pour rain at home. So
yeah, but that feeling of I can see everything drying out and I'm folding stuff up and it's crispy and dry, and then I'm putting it back in its place in the garage and I'm like, oh, it's actually going to happen. Things are going to be back where they're meant to go and it's going to be tidy.
Satisfying.
And then I'll probably want to go camping in a week or two and then I'll be like, oh, damn it.
No, you won't.
Why not? We're going camping for the baby moon.
Oh, yeah, but we're going glamping.
Glamping.
Someone with a bathtub.
With a bathtub, yeah.
We just booked a little glamping trip for our baby moon.
How exciting.
I'm really excited for that.
Yeah. But you're taking me to one of your favourite holiday destinations.
I went there
solo getaway.
I did.
Yeah.
That was probably 2 or 3 years ago now. I went on a solo glamping trip.
That was the thing I think when...
I just did a really huge solo mushroom journey.
Burnt your shoes on the fire.
Yes. And I made my own fire out. That was such a beautiful trip. I loved it.
I don't know what it is about that part of you, but I remember early on in our relationship, that part of you was really... I was really inspired by. I was really proud of. You're a capable woman.
That I would
You'd go and do shit on your own. You'd go, you didn't need anyone else, or you didn't even need friends. You didn't have any friends when I met you.
I did so. Shout out, Kristen.
But
when I met you, I was probably transitioning from all my high school friends because I'd stopped drinking.
Yeah.
And then into, my
spiritual friends.
Spiritual friends.
Shout out, Kristen, the most spiritual person in our friend group. No, I was just saying that it was really cool to see how you would take yourself on adventures and you wouldn't, like you didn't shy away from those things, and they weren't.
I was when we first got together, I did 2 months of house sitting down in a shed in Byron Bay, and I'd never owned a dog in my entire life, and I looked after 2 dogs. One was a cattle dog like Django, and the other one, I can't remember.
But you were living in a shed like with the gas cooker and everything. I'm just like, who are you?
I know. That was pretty cool. And I had to I remember that time I'd never made a fire by myself, and I had to work out how to build my own fire inside and
You remember calling me when you were down there once when you'd burnt yourself on I think it was on the gas stove.
Yeah, I burnt myself on the gas stove.
And you were crying.
I think you laughed. No, you didn't laugh at the time, but later you were like, that was really dramatic. Because I didn't even have a scar or anything. And I was like,
But yeah.
Well,
shout out to the solo trips that you won't be taking.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
For a while.
Part of me was like, that'd be nice. I'm like, don't think that's going to happen for a while. But I'm glad I had that season of life, and I'm sure I'll have that season of life again. But
yeah. Well, I plan every year to be taking 2 to 3 weeks solo, for my own rite of passage as a man.
You're great at doing things for yourself.
It's biological. Men need at least every year 1-2 week block where they leave the home and they go and do something for themselves, an adventure. When you say it's biological, what do you mean by that? You have to do it as a man. I've read zero books, but innately, as a man who is deeply connected to the earth, the wisdom that has been shared with me is that men need to go away once a year for at least 2 weeks to do something adventurous. Yeah. So, yeah. But I guess that could be, if you're looking at our ancestors, the way that most likely the women were with the children in the home, in community raising the children, and the men would most likely leave and hunt and do these things and have time away. You probably don't just leave your wife at home with just, the children. You'd have a structure in place, a community structure. Totally. And I think, See ya. Don't abandon me. See ya. But that's, I think that's I did say that recently. You've been away a lot while I've been pregnant. I said, I'm nervous that's going to happen when the baby's here. Have I been away that much? I think you've been away at least once a month. Yeah? Since I got pregnant. Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah. Mm. And I have not been okay with it. No, Yeah, I think that's a very important part of me, and I know that's going to change when we have the baby. But being able to go away, I feel like when I come back, I'm so much more me. Yeah, yeah. I think that's such an important piece for men to understand. Is that when you to fully choose your relationship, you have to be able to you need to be fully choosing yourself as well, and that frequency, duration, structure is really determined by your lifestyle and how you want, what cups need to be filled, which is super important to actually not just do because you're well, I'm filling my cup, but actually sit down and have conversations around what needs you both have and then what the relationship needs as well. Yeah. Mm. And that was, you planned a lot of things this year, and that was conversations that we had earlier in the year when I was oof, I had to kind of share that not that I didn't want you to go away, but I wanted almost to be let in on the process. Yes. Before you were now that we have a dog as well, and I think this is even going to be even more prevalent once we have a child, once our child is here. That it's no longer just see ya, I'm going. It's bye. Yeah, I think that's so that was good, and you got really great at that this year. And I think that gives. I think context is so important. I think this and I think what we're talking about today too is the quality of your presence. I was going to say this is a great segue. This is a perfect segue because I know if I don't go and do the things that I need to do. Yeah. To fill my cup, whether that's a work thing, a personal thing, an expansion or transformational personal growth thing, or a spiritual thing or whatever. If I don't do that and I don't feed that part of me is the one that starts to get resentful. Yeah. The one that's it feels like something is being taken from me.
And yeah, the conversation we wanted to have today is really one of the biggest things I see women craving most in relationship, which is presence. They're like the presence of their man, but it's not the quantity of his presence, it's the quality of his presence. So it's not that a woman wants her man by her side. Maybe like she thinks she does want this, but
Why do you say that?
because sometimes I'm like, yeah, I could spend every moment with you. But really the truth is it's not that I want to spend every single moment of every single day with you. But what I do ache for is like really like like when we're together for you to be fully fucking there and for us to be fully fucking there, and not just, you know, housemates in a house, you know, and our bodies are close by a lot of the time, or our bodies are sitting on the couch next to each other, or our bodies are cooking dinner near each other, our bodies are eating together, our bodies are sleeping next to each other. It's actually like, no, I can feel the depth and quality of your presence right now. And I think that's so important as a woman to understand that a lot of the time this is what we do actually crave, and being able to ask for that. Yeah, because, and I think as a man to understand this as well, that you could think, and I've seen this a lot with men, that a lot of men are like, what the fuck? Like, I'm here. Like if a woman's saying, I miss you, or I haven't really seen you. And he's like, what the fuck? Like we eat together every night. We watch Netflix together. You know, we sleep in the same bed every night. Like what more can I give you? And what a woman is really asking for in that moment is like, no, it's not just, I don't want your physical body just like moving through life with me. I want the depth of you present with me. I want to feel you fucking penetrating me with your presence. I want to feel you so there in the moment that I feel like nothing else could take your awareness away from me in that moment. Like that's what women crave so deeply. And like 10 minutes of that quality presence, if you gave a woman 10 minutes of that a day, like, oof, that would shift everything.
The way that I see it is like, as a man, if you're listening to this, like think about something that like captivates you or like draws all of you in and you get fully invested in. Maybe you watch sports and like when the footy's on, or the soccer, or some, you know, the UFC, and you like can't not watch. You're watching it and you can't think, or everything else disappears and you're just watching the fight. Like that kind of like depth of presence that you're giving to the sporting match. That's the way that your woman wants to feel. She wants to feel that almost that vigor, that level of intensity of your presence. Like she wants to feel you not just existing in the space, but you penetrating the space.
Yes. Like I often say, a woman wants to feel like the only thing in the room, like that your phone doesn't matter, like nothing is going to, and I'm sure the women listening to me can feel this. We're very sensitive creatures. Like you can feel when your man is fully there, and you can feel when he's distracted. And maybe he's like, you know, looking at you and he's not touching his phone, but you can feel that he wants to touch his phone and he wants to go into the other room and do something else, or he wants to like, you know, or work's really on his mind, or he's thinking about what he's got to do the next day, and you know, I'm not berating men for experiencing that. We all experience that. It's very challenging to be present in our body in the very, you know, busy, distracted world we live in. But that's like that is the depth of what a woman craves, like quality presence, quality presence, to feel like, yeah, like, oh my gosh, I feel like nothing could get in the way of his like I'm the only fucking thing that matters to him right now.
Yeah, nothing else can take him away from me.
Yes.
Yeah. And for me, this is like really important for men to understand. This isn't just about like you like kind of like holding the presence like this. Like, I can't think about anything else. Don't think about that. Don't think about that. Don't think about that. You want to learn to like relax into presence and let things go. It's not about holding on to everything. Oh, I've got to remember those 100 things, but I'm going to park them in the back of my brain. I'm going to be here with you.
Yeah. I'm being present. Can you feel me? I'm breathing.
Can you feel that? Like it's not about the thing with presence is when it's forced, it's not coming from the place that it needs to come from.
Yeah.
Because what it will do is it'll exhaust you rather than reinvigorate you. And your presence, what happens is when you are deeply present with your woman, what will actually happen is this beautiful regenerative kind of connection where you're giving it and you're also receiving at the same time.
Yeah.
And that for me is kind of the sweet spot that you're looking for. So there can be things that draw your presence away or that may be parked in your brain. And man, like this is a really good thing. Some of this shit is actually practical. Like it's actually practical. Like, hey, what if you got out? What if you were like you scheduled some time, or maybe it was you're about to sit down and spend some time together after work, and you've had dinner, and you think of like 5 or 6 things that you haven't done yet. Rather than try to push them away or try to hold them in the back of your head, communicate. Like this is where communication is can be so sexy. As like, hey, my love, I've just had a whole lot of things just come into my brain about what I need to do over the next couple of days. I'm going to grab a piece of paper and write them all down so I can come back and be really present with you.
I love that when you do that. Because again, it's sharing. It's not you just like leaving the space. Mm-hmm. It's you creating this like containment of like, hey, I'm going to go do this thing quickly, but I really want to be present. I'm doing this in service to what you want from me. I'm doing this in service to be able to bring my full presence and depth to you.
Yes. And that way I'm not in a moment trying to be like, oh, I'm compromising right now. Because what can happen if you've got those things rattling around the back of your head and you're being present, you're like, God, if I forget these, I'm going to regret spending this time with her.
Yeah.
Like you will create your own resentment because you haven't had the I guess the communication skill, which is something that you can cultivate.
Yeah.
To say, hey lover, I've just got to write these 5 things down on a piece of paper so I don't forget them, so I can do them, so I can get them done tomorrow, and then I'm all yours. Even
last night over dinner, you had your phone and we were like, you'd made dinner and you just put dinner down, and then you grabbed your phone and you said to me, hey, I've just got to quickly finish this one thing. I'm sorry, but I want to be really present with you. I'm just going to quickly finish this one thing. So usually I don't like when you're on your phone at the dinner table at all. But this was like, oh, okay, you're finishing that one thing. It's not as if you've just like eating and you've just unconsciously picked up your phone and you're doing something.
Yeah.
And maybe sometimes you do that, but I'd get annoyed because there's the communication and the context there of like, oh, well, I can wait for him to do that one thing, knowing that he's going to choose to bring the depth of his presence here in a moment. So again, I think that's so whatever we need to do. So like you said, and this goes both ways as well, like whatever we need to do to be able to be present with each other, to like, can we do that to create the environment of presence? And I think there's a reality too that there's always going to be more to do. There's always things that we could be doing, that there gets to a point where we actually have to be able to park those things and have things unfinished. And even in not having everything finished, we're going to choose our partner. We're going to choose to bring presence. We're going to choose to, be there in the moment with our partner, because there's always going to be fucking things that need to be done. And I'm sure, again, stepping into parenthood very soon, I'm sure, I feel like I'm going to nail this. Like I'm okay with having a messy house. I'm okay with things being not done in the home, but I'm sure there's many people that maybe feel challenged by that and maybe aren't able to choose being deeply connected or present with, their person because everything needs to be perfect in the home before they can choose that. And I think to a certain degree there is yes, this is what I need in order to be present with you. And then there gets to a point of, actually, I need to practice the art of surrender right now and letting go and choosing presence anyway.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
And that's where, like, if you are trying to get everything done before you spend time with your partner, what you're saying is, like, you're not a priority. Like, you are, I will only spend time with you if I get everything done.
Yeah.
And I've been very, very, I've been wired that way to a degree, like where I need to have everything done because I'm setting myself up for the next day as well. I'm thinking about the next day and the week, and that has been hard for me to be with. But I'm learning to be. I'm learning that
where I will drop everything to be. It's like I was going to do some work. Don't worry about it. I'll just be with you. I was going to have this. I was going to go out with this person. Now I'll be with you.
Yeah, but you can you're allowed to communicate the things that are important to you. Like you don't. It doesn't need to be everything. But for me, like making sure the kitchen's clean at nighttime, like I have to do that because I know the next morning when I come out, I want to be able to have breakfast. I want to come out to a clean space because my environment really, really is important to me.
Yes.
And that doesn't mean that I'm like, we've got washing and, I'm a lot more relaxed than I ever was. But I think it is really important to know, like, if something's important to you, you communicate that, but you don't let that be a kind of like a counterweight to like, well, I'll only spend time with you if I get to finish this.
Totally.
Yeah. Like, hey, lover, I'm going to finish cleaning the kitchen and then we're going to spend time together. Like it's the context, the communication and filling each other in is so important.
Yes. One thing I want to add here is that like we're talking about, and this is specifically for the women, we're talking about often women having this deep desire to feel the quality of their man's presence. And this isn't about putting the expectation on your man that he has to be penetrating you with the depth of his presence in every moment of every day. Mm-hmm. And I've probably made you feel that way sometimes in our relationship, where what I've really come to learn is that like, yeah, you're not, even though you're in the space with me a lot, we work from home, we live together, yes, that you're not, even though our bodies might be in the same room, you're not mine to have access to in every single moment. So expecting you might be making lunch and I might be in the space and you might be, on your phone, and there might be a part of me that's like, oh, I want him to be present. I want him to present. I want to feel the quality of his presence in this moment. But it's like, actually you're doing something.
Yeah.
And you haven't, this isn't the time, you're in the middle of something.
Yes.
And so I think really being able to honor this, yes, to speak this into the space and bring this desire forward to our partner, that it's really important to have these times where you're deeply meeting each other, but then not expecting him to be able to offer you that level of presence anytime your bodies are in the same room with each other.
Definitely. And like lunchtime is a great example because like when I come out and I'm like making lunch, it's like, I don't really want to see you. Like I don't want to spend time with you. I'm like been working and I want to just like that. And that's the part of me that misses the 9 to 5. It's like my lunch hour was my lunch hour.
Yeah.
And I remember like I would go and I'd be able to just chill out and listen to some music, eat some lunch.
Yeah.
Watch some videos of surfing or skating or whatever. And then cool, go back to work. Yeah. And I think that that's where, the respect thing of like, oh, cool. Like we haven't agreed that he's going to be, deeply penetrating me with his presence and cracking open my feminine core until I radiate love all over the place. Like there was no agreement there. There was no expectation. There was that was never the plan. He's just having lunch. He's just having lunch.
He's between calls.
Yeah.
He just wants to chill.
Yeah, I just want to chill. I've just been speaking deeply to the clients. So, and that's the same thing. Like if a man is sitting on the couch or if he's in a point of like, if you come in and demand that or, come in and like get grumpy because he's not giving you the attention that you think you need or that you are like expecting from him, it's like, okay, how can this be brought to light? Or how can you like, hey, my love, do you have time to connect tonight? I'd like to connect. And sometimes he might not, and that's okay as well. But like, once again, like learning how to bring an invitation rather than expectation is really important.
Yes, and asking for that, like, again, not just expecting in every moment him to be able to offer you the depth of his presence, but also if that's something you're feeling is missing from your relationship right now, sharing that desire, like, hey, and this is something I bring forth, you know, regularly in our relationship, because it is such a priority in it, and something for me is that I'll just like be like, hey, I'm like really craving just a night where like nothing gets in the way of us, like where we've got our phones away and, you know, nothing gets in the way. Can we do that this week, or can we do that tonight? And yeah, you get to be like, yes, or no, not tonight, but let's do it on Friday night, or I'm full this week, but I would love to do it this time.
Yeah.
Or just like going, I might offer that into the space, and you're like, okay, well, Wednesday morning we're going to go on a walk, and then I'm going to take you to breakfast. Like making it desire led. You know, we speak about this all the time on the podcast, that instead of bringing it as a complaint of like, oh fuck, you're always on your phone and you're never actually here with me. Right? If that's the fucking truth of the moment and there's fire there, you can bring that. But also a way more powerful way to bring this is to, I always say, under every complaint is a desire. Like underneath the complaint of you're never present, you're always scrolling your phone, you're always distracted, is the desire of, I want to feel you so deeply here with me. I want one of the women at the claimed immersion, the way she described it is, I want to feel you breathing down my throat. And I loved that so much. We were then joking about it all weekend. But like that sense of like, I want to feel you so here that your breath is like merging with my breath. And it's just like we're becoming one because of the depth of presence we're offering each other. And being able to just express that as a desire instead of like pointing out, you're always in your phone, you're never with me, you're distracted all the time, blah, 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 blah. Like leading with that desire or offering that desire is far more potent. Yeah,
definitely. And that's where you can honor like a man's kind of like emotional sensitivity or emotional reactivity. If he feels attacked, he's not going to open.
Yeah.
The other thing that I want to speak to around this is like a man needs transition time from work to connection.
Yeah.
And regardless of whether you work from home, you're an entrepreneur, 9 to 5, business owner, whatever, like you do need to honor that there will be a transition phase that you need to implement from like being, you know, immersed in your work to like actually being able to switch off and be present with your partner, whoever it is that you're spending time with. And that's what I have struggled with working from home. But the more I like leave, my laptop doesn't come out of my office anymore, and it feels so a bit of, you know, my phone might come with me. So it's about creating these separate, you know, separating the two. Like how can I like step away from work or step away from the distractions and like give myself that transition time, whether it's to have a sauna, whether it's to actually like chill out and watch an episode of something, whether it's to play a bit of music, maybe it's to go for a walk, whatever. You need to create the transition phase, because trying to flick that like a switch, like to come out of work and then instantly into like depth of connection can feel like you're not actually getting anything for yourself. It feels like, oh, I've been giving at work and now I'm coming home and I've got to give presents to my partner. When do I get to give to me?
Yeah.
That's when you get to like, oh, cool. All right. I can see that I'm not creating the appropriate transition. And for some guys that might be on the drive home. But a lot of the time, and I heard Paul Check talk about this on a podcast years ago, he said, I need an hour between coming home from the office or coming home from work and connecting with my family. And he's like, that doesn't mean I just like don't talk to them when I come in. I come in, I say, hey, I'm home, kiss. Awesome. Okay, cool. And then he'll go and he'll do his practice, and he'll have a practice of like winding down. And I think that's a really cool thing to discuss with your partner, what you need to be able to give them what they deeply desire.
And again, I love that you brought that in, because it's like this, again, and we spoke about this the last podcast episode we did too. It was like having these discussions on like what environment do we need to create so that we can experience this depth of presence from each other and this intimacy that we deeply crave. Because again, the reality is if you're raising children, if you're, you know, have very full lives, like whatever it is you're doing, when you are in long-term partnership, like, yeah, you've both got full lives outside of that intimacy. And so there needs to be a consciousness and an intentionality in terms of creating the environment which enables you to experience the intimacy and the depth of presence from each other that you deeply crave. So yeah, like being able, if you were to say, yeah, I need an hour, half an hour, whatever it is, to be undisturbed, to play music from this space so that I can be the man I want to be for you when we have dinner or when I come out of that room. Like beautiful. Again, I'm able to see that, you deeply want to meet that need I have, right? And you have this need that I'll be able to meet so that, there's this beautiful reciprocity there as well. Mm-hmm. And that might not, I don't really like the word compromise or believe in that, but it's like, being able to, what word did you use that David Data used on that call?
Calibrate.
Yeah, being able to like calibrate together to find a place where you're both able to feel met.
Yeah, and I think that this is where we honor like the differences in us. Like if I said, hey, like there's 8 hours on Saturday.
Yeah.
And I've
you
got
spend
nothing
every second with me.
And I've got nothing planned, but I was wanting to spend some time with you. How much time would you like to spend together?
7 hours, 59 minutes.
Hey, I haven't got anything on Saturday and I want to spend some time. How much time would you? Oh, Saturday. Saturday.
The whole day. I just assume in my head as well, like if you haven't told me any of your plans for the weekend, and I know that neither of us have, like we're not going away, we're not going to visit family or anything, I'll just assume that we're spending every second of every day.
So this is where calibration
and that you're giving me the depth of your presence that entire time.
So this is like the conversation we're having, like quality and quantity. Like what Meg is saying there is like she wants presence, but she's going to take as much as she can get. Right?
Yeah.
But for me, what is actually true for me, like if I said, hey, I've got the whole weekend, I'll spend like 30 minutes with you. That's a bit cheap. I'm being a bit cheap. It's like, but like, what am I willing to, what feels right for me to like, what do I feel I can really deeply give from a place of like unconditionality where I'm not going to, where I'm able to then also create space for myself.
Yeah. And I think what's important to me too is containment of time. Like when what feels really good for those weekends. So say like, we have a very full weekend this weekend, but maybe it's next weekend where I don't really feel like we have anything on. So.
No, we don't.
So in my head, there would be like, okay, at some point we're going to have, maybe we'll go on an adventure together. Maybe we'll have breakfast. I don't know. Where I love you being able to be like, okay, next weekend, I know we don't have much on. I would love to do some stuff around the house. I also want to do a bit of work, or I also want to go for a surf with some friends. So, can we keep all of Saturday before lunch free? Because I want to take you out, or I want to like go on a little adventure with you and the dog.
Yeah.
And that feels really good for me to then be like, okay, I'm going to get the depth and quality of his presence during that time, rather than over the entire weekend, not knowing when you're going to give me all of you, but like waiting to be like, he's in the garage. Should I go and try and get him to give me the quality of his presence now? Okay, like when am I going to get it? Like that level I love. And again, this is like where I, as a woman, love to be led and love to be contained. And I'm able to then like, I can even feel in my own body, like take a really deep exhale, because I'm not trying to like follow you around and get the thing that I want from you, or I'm not waiting until, I'm not like, following you around trying to be like, when is he going to give it to me? It's like, I know that this is the time where we've devoted to each other and you're going to offer me the depth of you, and we're going to have this real beautiful intimacy that I deeply crave. This is why, like when you organize date nights, or like when we have, when there's a containment that is so meaningful to me, and there's like a surrender, I can then really honor when you're off living your life and doing other things.
Well,
and
that you have a place in my life where that is important to me, and that when I'm with you, I'm fucking with you.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, because like containment is like, that's the thing that creates security. Like, and if you're a woman and you're sitting around waiting and you see your man, like he has nothing on the weekend and he's like sort of just existing or running around doing different things that he hasn't told you about, like that's unfair in a relationship. Like there's two humans that are living together, connecting. It's like you have a responsibility to be able to communicate.
Yeah.
And if you're constantly just running around doing other stuff or everything for everyone else, even if it is all of the jobs that need to get done, there's still a part of you that's trying to get somewhere and you're not honoring the relationship as a part of your life.
Yes.
And the relationship is the quality of your presence will dictate the quality of the connection. And if there isn't a quality connection, that's on you.
Yeah.
It is. And it's, I've taken, I take responsibility for that all the time because I know that when I'm not, and you have, so beautifully like developed this way of like reminding me or, pointing me back in the direction of like, hey, I'm here. Hey, I love you. Hey.
And I think I just want to add here that like, as a woman, I don't want you to think that you're only allowed to ask for that once. Like, no, I ask for that very regularly.
Yeah.
And that's not that because you don't listen or like, it's just because that's really fucking important to me. And that is something that, life gets full and life gets busy. And that is something that's required me to be like, hey, I'm feeling this yearning for connection and I'm feeling this yearning for intimacy. And I'd love just to have like, can you let me know when you've got space to make me feel like the only thing that exists in the world? And, that's as a woman, that's you can bring that and don't feel resentment towards your partner for having to bring that. Yes, if there's a line where we are often talking about willingness. If you're asking for that and you're never feeling a sense of willingness from your partner, well, yeah, that's great information. But if you're bringing that and there's like oh, of course, my love, I would love to do that. Okay, leave it with me and I'm going to check my calendar. I'm going to organize I'll send you a calendar invite for a few things in the next few weeks or whatever it might be, like beautiful. And that's, I don't think it's wrong to, have to remind someone you're in partnership with what's important to you and what feels good for you and what you desire. In fact, if you're, look at him right now. A little puppy's dreaming and he looks so cute. If you're averse to asking for what you want after you've already done it once, I don't even know. It's like it's a pride thing.
Yeah.
And that's actually, I don't know how
you're expecting perfection. You're expecting one desire, one revealing of desire to equal one desire being met. It's like that's not. And if you've read anything about the subconscious mind, like it's really hard to like get through to the belief systems that can sometimes be held in place that have been there since like childhood. And not to mention that like the modern world is constantly like barraging us with information. So what I would say to that is like, you may have to ask 2 or 3 times, but ensure that you infuse like a depth of feeling into these. Like you like ask with your entire body.
Yeah.
And that first one might be a little bit vulnerable, so it might come out a little clunky and it might be a little bit heady and not have a lot of feeling.
Yeah.
But the second and the third, it becomes more and more normal. And the thing, like you said, with willingness, if you are constantly asking, you're bringing it through the body and your partner is not budging, like that's information.
And if it's something that's really deeply important to you.
Yeah. I think I've said this 100 fucking times. Like that's data. That is information that you get to then use to make your decision. And sometimes, sometimes relationships don't fucking work out.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that every relationship is going to be the perfect one or last forever. And that's not what I'm saying with this, with this kind of dynamic or these tools or skills that we're sharing. But like you as a woman bringing your desire through and allowing it to come through your body, and you do that consistently and you aren't being met, you then have a decision to make.
Yeah. And when Jacob says bringing it through your body, this is really that difference between complaining and putting, I call it throwing grenades. So like if Jacob was on his phone and I was yearning for his presence, but instead of actually bringing that through my body and expressing like, hey, it would be so meaningful to me this week if we had just time where our phones were off and like nothing else was getting in the way and we were just so deeply present with each other. Instead of doing that, if you're like closing your heart, if you're being cold and you're saying like, oh, you're always on your phone and then like storming away, or like, like sitting on the couch with him, like almost like side-eyeing him, like waiting for him to give you presence and like hoping that he gets that, you know, you want your presence in that moment. Like, no. It's like actually just like allowing him to witness you in that depth of yearning that you have. That's everything.
Yeah, 100%.
Anything else you want to bring here? I feel like this could be a short and sweet episode.
The other thing, like that cute, almost like the coming through the body with the invitation. There's also like the dark femme invitation. I kind of want to bring this through. I think this is important. It's like,
yeah, for sure.
Like if your man is on his phone and like you are, I think there is a way of like you can, and I don't want to make this sound too sexualized, but like if you want his attention, like you can use the dark feminine like essence to come through and like almost like take up so much space in the room that he can't not focus on you.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really powerful thing as well. I think that is something that you've done quite well at times, is where you like come in naked and you're like,
put your phone the fuck away.
You don't even say put your phone away. Like you come in.
What I do, just shake my butt.
Yeah, you just shake it in my face. Yeah, and like.
You're like, you sure you want to scroll your phone now?
Yeah,
this is. I wouldn't say that, but that's the energy behind it.
Yeah, exactly. Like I would even say, like if you say put your phone away, I will reject that. Like don't tell me what to fucking do. Yeah. I don't like to be dommed in that way. Like being told what to do is not something that works very well for my.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, I have a problem. I have an issue with authority. But if you came in and you started shaking your ass in my face and you like started just like crawling around the floor and touching yourself, like my phone would become pretty fucking boring pretty quick. and like that's not to say use that all the time, but if you're wanting to like bring a different texture, like I think that's a really powerful way to move. Or like just cooking dinner in lingerie, or I love when you've done this a few times. You're like, oh hey my love, I'm going to bed. I'm just going to go on self pleasure, and I'm like. Oh, okay.
One of the women inside Full Spectrum Woman, we have a new group chat, and she was just sharing that because we'd shared this. She was also in the Art of Loving a Man around like if your man has, if he's not wanting to have sex in that moment, and this isn't out of like manipulation, but you like take your pleasure into your own hands. You can touch yourself like beside him. You can start like you can be in your own pleasure, and how often that will draw a man into wanting to be a part of that experience. And this particular woman was sharing that she'd tried that, and how he would like immediately was just like, okay, I'm in. I'm in. And again, there is a part of the feminine that is incredibly manipulative, but I think sometimes there's like a playful way that we can do this. And again, it's not about I'm going to self-pleasure so he knows that, he shouldn't reject me. No, you've also got to be okay with the fact that if he was to roll over and go to sleep and you were to self-pleasure, you are also doing it for yourself. Yeah. Or if you were to put lingerie on, and I've done this many times in our relationship, just like put lingerie on and put my favorite fucking music on and like be dancing while I'm cooking. And like, there's a part of me that's like, he's going to love this and he's going to be able to drink in just like this energy. But also I'm not like I'm going to put lingerie on because he hasn't given me attention and like hopefully he gives me attention because of this. Like, no, that's also an expression for myself. So the seductress energy, I think, is like so powerful and so beautiful. And there is this like manipulative quality, but not,
Manipulative isn't bad.
No, and it's manipulative, but it's also from this place of like the seductress knows she's hot as fuck. The seductress knows she has a power over a man because of the energy that she holds and the energy she's able to move through her body. And so as women, it's really about like, if you want attention, it's also about knowing that, well, you have the motherfucking power to demand his attention.
To draw him in.
Yes.
That's like...
and that can be with the way you move. That can be with the way you ask. That can be with the way you bring your desires forth. That can be with the way that you hold yourself in your body and what the energy you're transmitting. Like, again, knowing that that's part of our power as women.
Yes. And the big thing too, pardon me, I guess the one last thing is like when you say you want his presence, like be aware of where you may just be like, I just want to sort of tie a bow on this conversation and with this is like be aware that like you desiring his presence may actually be the moment may be asking for you to give something to him as well, which is such a thing. Like I don't want to get this mixed up. I kind of want to like really land the plane on this. It's like his presence is not just him giving you what you want. I'm just sort of because it's like
I wasn't like arguing.
That's not what I'm saying. No, but like it can be easily sort of formulated like, oh, if I need his presence because I want him to give me a massage or I want him to like do something with me and do what I want. It's like, no, like his presence is the thing that sort of wraps both of you up into an experience where whether it's a deep conversation or deep love making or playing a board game or going for a walk along the beach or going out to dinner, it's that you are both giving and receiving in that moment. And it might be that, if you come in and you want his presence and you can see that he's exhausted, it might be that you go and touch him with love. Go and nourish him. Like go and touch his shoulders. Go and stroke his back. Go and like make a cup of tea or something. I don't know. Like replenish him, and then see what comes. Like if you be aware that receiving his presence can come on the back of from on the back of deep nourishment. So I think that's I just want to really know that it's not just about you coming in and being desire led. Yes. But also just attuning to like, this dude's fucking exhausted, man. Like, he needs my nourishment right now. And when you feed him, he will feed you.
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to sort of.
I think that's really powerful because we're not. This conversation was all about women desiring the quality of a man's presence, but this isn't as women coming from an entitled place, or it's actually important that we check ourselves in that like, it's not just like you're not being present with me, but also it's like, knowing that that's a way that a man feeds us, but how are we feeding him? And is that through respect and love of his boundaries? Is that through loving touch when we can see he's exhausted? Like how are we... And that sacred reciprocity of relationship is, yes, it's important that we become desire-led and we're able to speak and advocate for the yearnings of our heart, but also to be able to deeply get off on feeding him.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's a beautiful place to end.
Yeah. I think we could even do a version of this around like nourishment, like nourishing a man.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a really nice a follow-up episode that we can do.
Okay.
Talk about that, like how a man can ask for nourishment, because I think a lot of men really struggle to receive. That's me. And a lot of guys that I work with about like letting love in or being able to ask for what we need. So I think that'd be a nice podcast to do to sort of address the other side of the equation as well.
Perfect.
This is I really enjoy this. If there's anything else you guys want to know about, or if have any questions, please let us know. Because I enjoy talking about this sort of stuff. I realize how much I do know a bit about this. So thanks, my love. I know. I sometimes forget, like when I'm doing all the men's work, I forget how I am
in terms of relationships.
Yeah, relationships. I'm well versed, but I'm also I'm really passionate about this sort of stuff because men need a voice. Men need someone to be able to voice this for them to that it's not just It's not just them going through it in their relationship, or it's not just all women wanting this. It's like, yeah, I've been through it, I'm going through it, and I also know that, you know, developing the skills and understanding myself better has allowed me to actually not just give you more presents, but actually like have a way better, more fun, awesome fucking relationship. How's baby?
Baby's kicking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We good?
We're great.
Awesome.
Thanks for being here, my loves. We'll see you next week and
See
the
you
week after
soon.
that and the week after that. And for however long we are here podcasting.
Forever. Peace.
Bye-bye.